All right, second round coming up. If you guys haven't thought of it already, start your brains turning towards the next thing that you can be thankful for. I will buy you some time because I'm thankful for the opportunity to tell my mom's story in the documentary that I made for her. Because not only was it a good opportunity to like transform my mom's story into a visual medium, which people could really enjoy and, you know, test my skill and make a cool documentary and all that. It really also just allowed me to boil down and get out some really, really interesting stories from my family and talk to them and get to know them and what they're thankful for. Because it was, there's a similar holiday to Thanksgiving called Chuseok, which is basically Korean Thanksgiving, where they gather around, eat a lot of food, and, you know, try to remember their ancestors, honor their family, and gather with friends and stuff like that. It's a big deal, big deal in Korea. Probably a bigger deal than Thanksgiving is in America, which I know is hard to say, but it's huge over there. And so it is just an entire experience where I was able to be thankful. And my mom, you know, when she watched the documentary, she just like really truly thanked me for making it, and I'm just like. All the sleepless nights of working on that thing and the various other parts of filming that led up to it, just like instantly all the stress of that just like melted away because it was like any time, like that little thank you made it all worth it. Just being grateful for it is all that really matters.
Yeah. Well, and this is coming from kind of a place of ignorance. I am not educated about Korean culture or any other like Asian culture, but I get the sense mainly from pop culture, but, you know, from generally what I've seen in media and stuff, that I know the holiday you just described sounds like exactly what I'm thinking about, but I know that this is kind of a characteristic of other Asian countries, like cultural things, is honoring your ancestors and being like mindful about that. Mm-hmm. I think that's really interesting. I know that in America we do not have like, you know, the same history that much older nations have around the world, but I do wish that there was more of a sense of like really having some celebration around which we could honor family or focus more on like our ancestry and our family and where we've come from. It's definitely not a thing I ever considered when I was younger, but as I'm, you know, getting ready to have my own kid and getting older in general, I wish that I knew more about my extended family and more about sort of, you know, how we started, where we came from, where we immigrated from, and whatever. I know a little bit, but I think that that's a really, for me, it seems like that would be really meaningful to have more connection to that. And not that we don't. I'm sure a lot of American families, especially if you have ties to your family back through the immigration process to, you know, there's a lot of heritage pride in like certain nationalities and stuff. But I feel like it's not a thing nationally where Americans spend a lot of time talking about and honoring, you know, ancestry necessarily. And maybe that's just my experience, but I wish I had more of that. Very interesting. Yeah. That holiday sounds much more enjoyable and like a worthwhile time than a lot of American holidays do to me. Not that I don't love a good 4th of July or Thanksgiving or whatever, but I guess I'm jealous is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. A lot of times, you know, American Thanksgiving, growing up especially, all I knew of Thanksgiving was like, oh, the Pilgrims were grateful. And that was it. It didn't have any like family ties to it. Right. There was you know, family traditions where you gather around the dinner table and you say, what are we thankful for? But it was always that kind of forced thing where you're like, I'm thankful for this food. Yeah. And then, you know, I'm thankful for, you know, my football team winning, you know, kind of like this.
Yeah, you didn't want to get mushy and be a nerd.
Yeah, I know, right? No, it is very, very cool. And I'm sure there's people in Korea, like native Koreans, that are like, I don't really care about Chuseok, but, you know, I think as a whole, it really does kind of put things in perspective and make you think, and that is important.
Yeah.
I will give you 1 point, Bob, but just one, because that was a good interlude and good. I like that.